Olá, boa noite. Eu sou o Biribó, hoje com o vídeo 6 de Broken Sword, A Sombra dos Templários. Ontem, a Nicole matou a charada. O seu pai não era mau, nem era amigo do Carchon. Era um agente secreto infiltrado, um herói de França. Ele e Imelda eram apaixonados. Imelda acabou morta pelo assassino do disfarce, desta vez fantasiado de cavaleiro. George retornou da Irlanda e na polícia ficou sabendo que o Marquês, aquele que deveria ter ido para a Irlanda receber a pedra, foi agredido e está hospitalizado com sérios ferimentos. Ele vai até o hospital e consegue falar com ele, recebendo a instrução de entregar a pedra para o grão-mestre. Grão-mestre do quê? Da Ordem dos Templários, por acaso? Mas essa ordem não acabou faz tempo? George é expulso por outro falso médico, porque o George também estava disfarçado de médico. Esse outro falso médico desliga os equipamentos e mata o Marquês. Com certeza não era obra do Khan o assassino do disfarce, porque o Khan já tinha tido a chance de matar o Marquês se quisesse, mas preferiu só arrancar as informações, mandando os dois capangas dele darem uma surra no Marquês, o que ocasionou a hospitalização, né? Que outra turma quereria eliminar o Marquês? Qual a organização do próprio Marquês? Uma organização rica, porque estava financiando escavações na Irlanda, caríssimas, estava financiando o quarto particular do Marquês num hospital caríssimo. Que interesse teria o assassino do disfarce, o Khan, nos homicídios que ocasionou? Mistérios. Finalmente o George encontrou o Lobinot trabalhando no museu e obteve boas informações históricas. O Lobinot quer ver o pergaminho e fica todo animadinho ao saber que está no apartamento da Nicole e que ele terá que ir lá para ver. Pior ainda, a Nicole ficou toda alegrinha do Lobinot ter ido até lá, aliás, o André ter ido até lá e ela tê-lo reencontrado depois de tanto tempo. Daí, sabendo que Montfaucon era um local de execução durante a Revolução e que não existe nada lá hoje, a não ser uma igreja do tempo dos Templários próxima, o George tem que ir até lá. E é daí que a gente vai retomar a aventura. Então, aqui Montfaucon.
I once read a list of low-stress jobs. It didn't include police work. Obviously, this guy hadn't read the same list. Excuse me, officer.
O senhor sabe dos Templários? Fale-me do senhor primeiro.
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic. The most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
Templar.
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Ah, ele sabe tudo isso porque viu no cartaz, não é que ele estudou nada disso, não. Então executavam os templários aqui também, depois de julgados. Gesso, não. O senhor viu esse homem aqui?
Have you seen this man before?
No. Who is it?
I believe him to be an international assassin.
Oh.
Is that all you can say? Oh.
I did wonder if I should say that I believe you to be an international paranoiac, but it didn't seem polite.
O senhor já viu esse nariz de palhaço por aí?
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Aha! A prosthetic nose. Very significant.
It is?
No, I am just having a little joke.
Nada importante.
Do you know what this is?
It's a sewer key.
Tem um bueiro ali perto. Acho que ele vai ter que usar agora. Alamut.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
The pattern looks Middle Eastern.
Desenho do Oriente Médio. Medir pressão, pedra, não. Me dá um aperto de mão.
Would you like to shake? I stopped myself barely in time. Electrocuting a cop would not have been smart. They'd rebuild the Bastille just so they could throw me in and throw away the key.
Não teria sido inteligente eletrocutar
I'll see you
um
around.
guarda.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
Vamos ver o bueiro.
In the middle of the square was a manhole. I wondered if there might be something relevant beneath street level.
Claro que em jogo de aventura as coisas interessantes estão no subsolo.
I couldn't open it with my bare hands.
Você tem uma ferramenta, mas o policial tá olhando, não vai poder, né?
Hey you! What do you think you are doing? Leave that cover alone. Now.
Sorry, no harm intended.
You stay away from that.
Sai daí. Cartaz.
In French, English, and German it read, in 1312, Pope Clement V dissolved the knightly order of the Templars and excommunicated its members on charges of heresy. In the following 2 years, many of the knights were hanged on this site. Their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at the stake on an island in the Seine.
Jacques de Molay não foi queimado aqui, foi numa ilha em Paris mesmo, no Rio Sena. Tanto faz ir para um lado ou pelo outro? Entra na igreja do mesmo jeito?
A row of old pews, beautifully carved and glowing with polish. I thought of all the people who must have sat here over the decades. All those Parisian derrieres, firm buttocks of the young ladies, the flabby flesh of the old men. That wasn't a pleasing image, so I went back to the young ladies. Whoa! I didn't have time to sit around.
Ele não quer sentar para lustrar o banco.
A knight there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world, I guess. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout. A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. A stone knight lay at the end of a row of 4. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. In comparison to its neighbor, it looked pretty plain. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. The statue had any secrets. It was concealing them pretty well. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. Well, I could have just taken the end off the staff, but I wanted to be sure what I'd be getting out of vandalizing a church, other than deported.
Ele não pode roubar nada aqui na igreja.
I could see that what had at first seemed to be a fine engraved chasing on the scroll was actually writing. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Sounds pretty familiar to me.
É a inscrição do pergaminho dos Templários.
Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess.
Perguntar pro Lobinô, já que você não me empresta o tripé,
Hi, André.
você me deixa roubar?
Hello, Georgie.
Se eu pedir, por
Hey, I
favor.
visited Nicole's apartment.
Yeah, she told me you came by.
Ooh, quite a fine Georgie boy. I didn't expect anything quite so sexy.
I hope you're referring to the manuscript.
Oui, of course.
É, claro que eu tô falando do manuscrito, Sex.
What did you make of the manuscript?
It dates from the time of the Crusades.
We guessed that from the Templar seal.
It's a story and pictures like a modern-day comic book.
É uma história em quadrinhos.
What story does the manuscript tell?
I don't know. It was probably produced for the tourist market.
Tourists?
Oh, oui, pilgrims in their thousands on their way to Jerusalem. The tourist trade is nothing new, you know. It's been around for centuries. Ever since Joshua made a packet selling souvenir bricks from the walls of Jericho.
Have you deciphered any of the images on the manuscript?
There's very little I can be sure about. The slang of the bull could be a reference to Mithras,
Who's he?
a Persian god, almost as popular as Christ at one time. The only thing I can be sure of is the knight. He's Spanish.
How can you tell that?
The writing on the shield, the reference to Ave Maria. No self-respecting knight from Northern Europe would have borne a coat of arms like that.
Tem um cavaleiro espanhol e o do boi lá do touro pode ser Rei Mitra.
Can you identify the knight's coat of arms?
I already did, Georgie. He's a member of the De Vasconcelos family from the Costa Calida.
Were they famous?
No, they're not mentioned after the 15th century.
Oh,
The spotlight of history moved on. They're probably long dead.
does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Alamut is the name of the place where the Hashashin were based.
Where is it?
Somewhere in what used to be called Persia. I'm not too hot on modern geography, I'm afraid. The most recent map I have shows America as an English colony.
Thanks for your help,
Que já
André.
mostrou
You're
tudo.
welcome.
Se esconder no sarcófago enquanto o guarda fecha a janela.
Attention! Please do not open the window, monsieur.
Don't you think it's kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill. And the fat falls on the open flames. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled. And it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
A fumaça da hamburgueria. Não, não, não vai lá. Ah, já podia aí sim.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, monsieur.
E a janela do meio ficou aberta ali. Os gorilas.
Quit
Gangsters.
fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight. What the? Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
Foi bom golpe. De volta ao apartamento de
And
Nico.
when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor Georges.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shoot their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. But how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Georgie, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod.
Jorginho. Vamos falar do André?
Is there something going on between you and Labano?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this. The clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but...
So get off my case.
Então há. André, de novo?
Just how long have you known Labano?
André? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresh air. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
I'd better get back to the quest.
Aeroporto, já posso ir para a Espanha. Umas horas depois.
There was a crotchety old guy watering the lawn. If this garden was all his own work, he was more capable than he looked. Hi, is this the De Vasconcelos house?
Who wants to know?
I could tell the old coot was going to be trouble. My name's George Stobart. I was wondering whether...
The house is not open to the public.
This is the De Vasconcelos house.
And what business is that of yours, senor?
Look, all I want is to speak to the head of the household.
There is no household. Only the Countess and myself.
Só a Condessa e ele moram aqui.
Tell me about the Countess de Vasconcelos.
She doesn't receive guests. That's all you need to know.
You don't even know what I have to talk to her about.
She hasn't won the lottery, has she?
Ganhou talvez o quê? Não sei, agora eu vou dizer que sim.
Yeah, that's it. The Countess has won the lottery, and I'm here to give her the check.
Marvelous. May I see it?
No. No, I have to deliver it to her in person.
The Countess doesn't do the lottery.
Oh, for crying out loud, why'd you lead me on then?
To amuse myself. To make you look a fool. To make you go away.
What do you know about the Templars?
Who wants to know?
Are you angling for a bribe or something?
You have nothing that I want, senor, except the pleasure of your absence.
The guy was obviously protecting the Countess against the whole world. But why?
Por que ele quer proteger a Condessa do mundo? Gesso... Can...
Do you recognize this man?
No.
O senhor usa esse nariz aqui de vez em quando?
I don't suppose this red nose means anything to you, does it?
Ah! El Flojo!
El who?
El Flojo. He is a clown on state television.
Oh, is he any good?
He is as funny as scabies, without the laughs.
Look at this tissue.
It's a tissue with some greasy muck on it.
Yes, that's right. Have you got any use for a fistful of plaster?
No.
Do you know what this is?
See, I have a similar tool for opening culverts on the estate.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
I don't smoke.
This lab pass mean anything to you?
Nothing.
What do you make of this?
So that's it. You're a salesman.
If I was hawking medical supplies, I can think of better places to hawk them. See this gem? Men have died for it.
Do I look as if I care?
What do you think of this tripod?
I think nothing of it.
Would you like to shake hands?
I do not think so, senor.
Nem na,
I'll be going for now.
Adiós, senor.
nem na Espanha ele vai poder dar o golpe.
The main part of the house was old, but nowhere near as old as the gatehouse section.
Hey, you.
Yeah? What is it?
You would not like it if people just wandered into your home, would you?
Well, no, I guess not.
Then show a little consideration.
Okay. Sorry.
Tem a torneira aqui, dá para fechar.
The hose ran from some sort of utility room all the way to the lawn. I didn't like the idea of carrying 30 yards of hose around me, so I left it alone.
E dá ataque mortal nele por trás. Execução rápida e silenciosa.
I'm no student of architecture, but the little building looked old. I wondered if it was some sort of summer house.
Pelo menos dá ação para cá.
Down below the estate, I could see the sea stretching away. It was a beautiful sight, and looked a lot like the scene from the manuscript.
Parecia com a cena do manuscrito. Então as coisas aconteceram por aqui. Olha a cruz dos Templários.
The door was a handsome piece of work, in keeping with the ornateness of the rest of the building. There was a statue of a guy on top of the building. He looked like a knight with a spear and some sort of staff.
Cavaleiro com uma lança ou alguma outra coisa.
I wasn't about to go clambering on rooftops if I didn't have to.
Rats! It's locked.
Ah, o aparelho de pressão apertando a mangueira. É genial, num filme de aventura deve funcionar. Isto. Se não fosse,
My
olha...
horse has stopped.
Yeah?
See, my horse never stops.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it. It's always sad when an old tradition comes to an end.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Well, I'm shocked. I'm mortified. How could you think such a thing?
Very easily, senor. Very easily. I'm going to find out why my horse has stopped. And that means going into the house. You are not, absolutely not, to go in the house. If you do go in the house, I will set the dogs on you. Hey, you on the stairs.
Oops. I know this doesn't look good, but
Look, senor, all I want is a quiet life. A life without mad, house-breaking foreigners in it. Understand?
Look, I just wanted to, use the bathroom.
Leave now, please.
Okay, I'm going.
Não deu certo. Acho que ele tem que se esconder primeiro e esperar o outro sair.
The armor was about my size. I had a mental vision of putting it on and clanking off to see the Countess, with the gardener hanging hopelessly on the outside trying to stop me. Apart from being stupid and unworkable, it was a great plan.
Se não fosse plano estúpido, seria muito bom. E agora?
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Come here.
I know this doesn't look good, but
Look, senor, all I want is a quiet life. A life without mad, house-breaking foreigners in it. Understand?
Look, I just wanted to, use the bathroom.
Leave now, please.
Okay, I'm going.
I could see the gardener trying to figure out what was wrong with the hose. Time for cat-footed stealthiness.
Hey, you. I know you are there, American. All right, you dogs. I'm coming.
Era fácil.
Madre Dios, who are you?
My name's George Stobart. I'm sorry to burst in like this.
You must leave at once. You're not wanted here.
Please, if you'd just listen a minute.
Very well. State your business, Senor Stobart.
There's been a series of murders, part of some conspiracy. Anyway, the trail led me here.
Here? There is nothing for the outside world here.
Over 600 years ago there was.
What do you mean?
This whole thing ties in somehow with the Knights Templar.
The Knights Templar are dust.
They had a secret that was so important, they went to a lot of trouble to hide it.
I do not see what this has to do with my family.
Your family had a strong connection with the Templars, right? I believe that they've planted some clues here.
Why should I believe a complete stranger who barges into my home?
Just let me have a look around. If I find nothing...
You'll be spending the night at the police station. Very well. Please, sit down.
Me conte então sobre os Templários.
I know your family is involved with the Templars, but I don't know how.
You should be asking how my family were involved, Senor Stobart. The Templars ceased to exist centuries ago. And as for the De Vasconcelos, the line dies with me.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Okay, whatever happened, happened almost 700 years ago. So, if the Templars left any clues, they're going to be in stuff that dates back to the early 14th century.
Obviously.
So, what do you have around here that's early medieval?
Early medieval. Let me think. Well, the house is relatively modern, a scant 3 centuries old. Or, of course, the chess set.
That chess set is over 600 years old? It must be worth a fortune.
Indeed it is. Not that I would part with it, of course.
No, I wouldn't either. That's the sort of thing that gets handed down to your children. Sorry.
Its value is less than you might think. The set is not complete. One of the pieces is a modern replacement. As to the original, it was lost a long time ago.
Nobody has any idea where it is?
No. The children had it when they were taken.
Children? What children?
All in good time, Senor Stobart.
May I examine the chess set?
Certainly. But do not move any of the pieces.
Okay, thanks. Close up, the modern piece stood out like a sore thumb. There was something else odd about the set. All of the original pieces had irregular bases.
My lady, I have to warn you, there's a... You! Why, I'll feed you to the dogs.
Lopez, what have I told you about feeding intruders to the dogs?
But, my lady...
Never without my permission. Senor Stobart, if I find that you're wasting my time, you will be fed to the dogs. Now, I want to show you something interesting. Follow me.
Vai mostrar algo interessante.
Lopez, unlock the door, por favor. This is the only remaining structure on the estate contemporary with the Templars.
Nice. What is it, a summer house?
A mausoleum, Senor Stobart.
Oh.
Come with me.
Mausoléu.
Hey, senor.
Yeah?
I do not know what you have told my lady to be shown these favors, but I do not trust you.
You've got nothing to worry about. Aren't you coming in?
No, the dead do not interest me. My garden is a living thing. I will be there.
Wow, this is old.
It was constructed in the 13th century as the final resting place for the De Vasconcelos Templars.
It's well maintained.
These are my ancestors, and they deserve respect. I come here at least once a week to say a prayer for them.
Mind if I have a look around?
By all means.
The mausoleum contained 5 tombs for 5 of the Knights Templar, man-size in marble. Hanging from the ceiling was a huge yellowed candle. It looked really old and had never been lit. It was a rod with a cone and a hook on the end. I guessed it was for snuffing out the big candle in the chandelier. A big statuette of the Virgin Mary kept an eye on the place. In front of the shrine was a lectern with a Bible on it. On removing the Bible, I found a pattern on the lectern top. Hey! It's a checkerboard! Close up, I could see that the pattern was made up of glass squares over a checkerboard pattern.
Tenho que pedir as peças de xadrez para ela.
Now what? There was nothing to snuff. Feeling like an idiot, I put it down again.
Não havia nada para apagar, mas tem essa janela para fechar.
High up in the dome were windows. I guessed they might open them to make it less stuffy in there. I couldn't climb up there without breaking something. May I ask you something?
You may ask.
Who exactly are these people?
My ancestors. These 5 men were all members of the Templars.
5 ancestors in the order. You must be very proud.
Not 5, 6.
Where's the 6th knight?
He was lost to us.
You lost an ancestor?
It is a family matter. It can have no relevance.
Well, it's connected with the curse of the De Vasconcelos, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I hope you will honor my desire not to talk about it.
Okay, well, I'll leave it for now. You certainly know your history.
What's your opinion of the Templars, Senor Stobart?
The Templars? Well, they seem no worse than a lot of the knightly orders.
You are mistaken. Compared to the simpering politicians of the Hospitallers or the brutish Teutonics, the Knights Templar were the embodiment of chivalry. The filthy, money-grabbing French king and his pet pope did a great wrong. A bane settled upon my family at the whim of that self-seeking tyrant.
It was all a long time ago.
Some things don't die. Injustice is one of them.
Is the Virgin Mary really the right person to be sharing a mausoleum with 5 knights?
You are showing your ignorance, Senor Stobart. The Templars were dedicated to the Virgin Mary.
What's the story with the glass chessboard?
Glass chessboard? Oh, the pattern on the lectern, purely decorative, I'm sure.
There are pieces of glass missing from it.
Oh, it has been like that since I was a girl.
The gaps in the glass chessboard look awfully deliberate.
No, it is ridiculous. What possible significance can it have?
It's part of a chessboard, and the gaps are for...
Senor Stobart, you cannot mean...
This place was built for the Templars. Your chess set is as old as the Templars. It's kind of suggestive, isn't it?
Me dê as peças.
I think this must be it. This is what the manuscript is pointing to.
This is extraordinary. Am I to understand that the Templars left a puzzle here? And in all of this time we failed to realize that there was a puzzle?
It was wonderful to watch the Countess change before my eyes.
Right. Well, no time for wallowing in self-pity, eh, Senor Stobart? This mystery has had a good long run, but it ends here and now.
All those years of fatalism were falling away from her.
Lopez! Lopez! Put that hose down and listen! Go to the house and get my chess set. Yes, the old chess set! Now hurry! My, this is exciting, is it not?
Don't get too excited. This could be a blind alley.
Oh, I do not believe that for a moment.
It's good to see you happy.
Happy? You know, I think I am.
While we're waiting, I'd really like to know what happened here. I mean, the curse and everything?
It all began at the time of the dissolution of the Templars. Don Carlos had already left their ranks to become a scholar.
Don Carlos, is he the guy who went missing?
Si, but he had reckoned without the local bishop. Their bishop envied us our lands and determined to use the papal edict as an excuse to destroy us. Don Carlos was on one of his scholarly journeys when the Inquisition arrived. When Don Carlos returned, it was to find his loyal manservant slain and his children gone.
They took the kids? But why?
Oh, we will never know. The bishop denied all knowledge of the children's disappearance. But witnesses had seen his men kill the servant who had been charged to protect them.
What happened to Don Carlos?
He swore he'd find his children if he had to go to the edge of the world. He put on his armor and took up his sword and shield and rode out alone. He was never seen again. Lopez, you have the pieces.
Si, my lady, as you asked.
Por favor, Senor Stobart, would you be so kind?
My lady.
Calm yourself, Lopez. I believe Senor Stobart's motives are pure.
Very well, my lady. My lady seems to trust you.
But you don't.
No, senor.
Vamos ao
It
enigma.
fits, Senor Stobart. It fits.
Working quickly, I found which pieces went into which holes.
Tem que colocar cada peça de xadrez no buraco correspondente. faça clique numa peça que não esteja colocada. A peça girará e verá um padrão na base. Igualmente verá um padrão se faz clique em qualquer buraco do tabuleiro. Tem que arrastar cada peça ao buraco do padrão que corresponda. Para isso, arraste a peça e deslize até o buraco correto do tabuleiro. Se tentas colocar uma peça no buraco equivocado, ela volverá automaticamente ao lado. Essa foi fácil. É só ir tentando qualquer uma em qualquer lugar até acertar. Mas eu estou tentando achar as cores certas aqui. É que eu não consigo. Essa é uma dessas duas aqui. Não, bispo. Ele pega a peça errada. E essa é do lado do bispo, então. É este.
With the red pieces in place, the square bases fit onto the white pieces. I just had to figure out where to place them.
Agora a rainha pode dar o cheque, pode matar o rei em qualquer ponto aqui. Essa teria que estar aqui para não estar em xeque, se esse daqui é o rei, então.
Bingo! I mean, checkmate.
Não sei como, mas eu dei checkmate.
Senor Stobart, look!
What is that? It's not the Holy Grail, is it?
No, Senor Stobart. It is the communion chalice of the De Vasconcelos, missing for almost 700 years.
Wow! Well, go on.
I cannot. I can hardly believe it is real.
Go ahead. Live a little.
Are you sure? This is your moment of triumph, Senor Stobart.
Sure, I'm sure. The possibility of death traps only occurred to me a few days later.
De volta ao apartamento de
So the
Nico.
curse of the De Vasconcelos is lifted?
Oh no, the Countess was thrilled to find the lost chalice, but there's still the riddle of the missing knight.
Well, you can forget about that now and get back to finding the Templar's secret.
Actually, I promised the Countess I'd find Don Carlos.
You what?
I can explain everything.
You have got the odds for a withered old Spanish aristocrat?
The Countess entrusted me with the chalice and the quest for her ancestor's tomb.
You're as crazy as she is. Haven't you got enough problems? Khan and the Templars?
It's all part of the same thing. The chalice is important, I'm sure. The manuscript pointed us to the knight, and I have to find him.
What then?
I don't know. But when the knight and the chalice are reunited, maybe I will.
Quando o cavaleiro e o cálice estiverem reunidos.
This is the chalice I discovered in Spain.
I still can't figure out why the Countess gave it to you. After losing it for all those years, she simply gave it away to a total stranger? She's one prawn short of a paella.
The Countess is a fine lady. You shouldn't compare her with seafood.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on between you and that countess.
Are you serious? She's old enough to be my grandmother.
I'd better get back to the quest.
Vamos ver se o André sabe o que é esse.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, Andre?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
The glass case was intact, but the tripod had been replaced by a sign reading, "Exhibit temporarily removed."
Acabou a Espanha e acabou o Ano Novo para ele. Pelo menos por enquanto, né? Acho que ele terá que voltar lá para terminar o quebra-cabeça. Agora tem coisas aqui.
There was a small crowd of 5 sightseers. It's a weird thing, but you can take the most intelligent people in the world, put them in their vacation duds, and hey presto, they look like morons. Why is that? I had no desire to talk to the crowd. The juggler was good. Why he couldn't put that kind of application into getting a real job, I had no idea. Maybe he just liked dressing up like a horse's ass.
Jogar o nariz ali para ele fazer
Hey,
malabares.
you with the balls.
Oui?
Look, a red nose.
Oh, you say, whoop-de-doo.
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu. A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crownheads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not.
Agora tem padre aqui. Parece padre.
A priest stood by the pews, energetically polishing something. Excuse me, Father.
Pardon?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Not at all, monsieur. It will be my pleasure to help you.
I noticed that the stained glass window on the left looks more modern than the middle one.
You have a keen eye, monsieur. The original window was destroyed in the last war. It was as old as the church, early 14th century.
Oh, man, that's awful.
Oui, a terrible loss. Still, the church and the other windows survived.
How long have you worked here?
Hardly work, monsieur. This is a calling. I have been helping Father Flambert for nearly 6 months now.
I guess you don't know much about the history of this church, then.
Just a little.
You've got quite a shine on that candlestick.
Ah, oui. Anything less than best would be an insult to the Almighty.
I guess so. I never thought of it like that. What do you know about the Knights Templar?
You have come to the right place, if that is your interest. Many of them were executed in the square outside. It was a disgrace to France.
Well, the Pope was right behind it, though.
Clement V was a man of mammon, not of God.
That's kind of forthright for a priest, isn't it?
You think so? It is hard to be sure what happened. It is so long ago.
Do you speak Latin?
You ask this of a priest?
Okay. Can you tell me what per disciplinum meam lux videbus means?
Let me see. That would be, by my teachings, you will see the light. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Por que quis traduzir que o padre já tinha traduzido? Este cálice.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
Sim, né?
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks.
Acho que ele tem que sair de lá.
The priest was still busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. It looked a lot like the statue on top of the de Vasconcellos mausoleum.
Sair da igreja, deixar o cálice de presente? Isso eu
Hello
também já
again.
fiz.
Hello again, monsieur.
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah, you are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No, although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing, and not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of a plainclothes clown?
He had a point.
So you're saying that if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it...
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur, you have it.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps?
No, I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime. And without a word, he collected his balls and left in a fury.
Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey!
But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change.
E ninguém aplaudiu.
If I wanted to get deeper into these catacombs, I was going to have to get onto that path. If the near edge hadn't crumbled away, I could have jumped it easily. A weird little boat lay tied up. I guess they used it to get maintenance crews around. Either that or the Phantom of the Opera was somewhere near. On the boat was a winching machine. There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templier and something about innocence. My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, this is where the gallows used to stand. Maybe.
A fork.
The door was a handsome piece of work. I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked.
The hook lay in a bed of chain.
Golpear o painel com a chave.
It was time for some brutal destruction. Hey, that's hollow! I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. There was some sort of mechanism hidden inside the wall, with a lever in the middle of it. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever. Here goes. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap.
Daí, de repente, milagrosamente, a corrente pode servir para algo.
There was a crack in the wall. Through it, I could see a glimmer of natural light.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report.
The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say, our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course. My apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princess of this world!
Wow.
Aqui é para pôr o tripé e a gema. Acho. É sim, tem a marca pro tripé aqui.
In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above lancing down to touch it. The tripod's feet fitted neatly into the notches on the top of the stump.
E a pedra.
The light, falling from above, struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays. And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the left, I could read M-A-R-I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant.
De volta ao apartamento de...
Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria, but they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to Andre, anonymously.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, George.
Então é isso. Por hoje vamos ficando por aqui. O Exol Biribó, agradecendo a paciência, o apoio, as dicas, a torcida, desejando boa noite, até amanhã. Por enquanto eu fui.